Phrase 1 begins with an A5 power chord. The 5th string is open. Play the 4th string 2nd fret with your index finger, and also bar the 3rd string 2nd fret with the index finger. Strum strings 5, 4, and 3. Then mute the strings with your picking hand. Then pick 2 palm muted open 5th string A notes. Next, play a C5 power chord on the 3rd and 4th strings by barring the 5th fret with your ring finger. Pick both strings, let the chord ring out briefly, then slide down the neck while keeping pressure on the strings. Play an open G5 on the 3rd and 4th strings open, and end on the A5 power chord. Next, repeat the 2 open 5th string palm mutes, C5 on the 5th fret with a slide, G5, then A5. This is the main riff and will be repeated many times with several different endings. The first ending is a 6th string 3rd fret with the middle finger. Give it a slight bend, then repeat the main riff. The second ending is on the 3rd string 5th fret with a half-step dip on the tremolo bar. Pick the note, dip the bar, and return. If you're playing a guitar without a whammy bar, you can imitate the riff by picking the 5th fret, slide to the 4, then back up to the 5. Repeat the main riff. Then for the 3rd ending, Randy fretted the 5th string, 5th fret, that's with the index finger, then played the 6th fret with the middle finger, and pulled off to 5 again. The pull-off technique is achieved by picking the first note, then snapping your finger away from the string to produce the next note. So we pick 5, 6, pull off to 5, then drop down to the 3rd fret. And there are several more endings to this main riff, but for now, let's practice it with these 3. Now let's put the main riff together and increase the speed a little bit, and you'll begin to see how it starts to take form. Phrase 2 is the end of the main riff. Here we start out with the same structure, the open A5 chord, double palm muted open A notes, C5 on the 5th fret of strings 3 and 4, and a slide down to G. Strings 3 and 4 open. Next is another A5, then 2 more 5th string palm mutes. Then comes the change. Here I'm playing an E5, which is the 5th string 7th fret with the index finger, and 4th string 9th fret with the ring. With your fingers in place, strum down on strings 5 and 4. Using the same fingerings, drop down to D5, which is the 5th string 5, along with the 4th string 7th fret. Strum up on strings 4 and 5. Next we use the same fingers, but drop down to another C5, which is a 5th string 3rd fret with the 4th string 5th fret. Play the C5 with a downstroke on strings 5 and 4. Then we end on the open G5, which, whenever possible, Randy would isolate the strings he wasn't playing so he could prevent unwanted notes from ringing out. When he played this G5 chord, he would often mute strings 6 and 5 with his thumb and strings 1 and 2 with his other fingers. Here I'm lightly touching the strings, and this way if I accidentally strum them, they don't ring out. Altogether, the end chords are E5, D5, C5, G5. Picking down, up, down, up. Here's phrase 2 with a slow practice tempo. Phrase 3 changes things up a bit for the chorus. We start on an open A5, a single palm muted open 5th string, then we move up to the C5 on strings 3 and 4. This is played by barring your index finger on the 5th fret. Play another palm muted open A, C5 again, then move it up 2 frets to D5, which is played on the 3rd and 4th strings, 7th fret. I personally bar the C5, then play the D5 with my ring and pinky, but you can also move the barred C5 up, or you can bar it with another finger. Next, we'll play the open G5 on strings 3 and 4, and bend a G note on the 6th string. Give it a slight bend, and play an A5. For the first ending, play the 4th string's 2nd fret with artificial harmonics. The best way to achieve this is to allow your fingertip of your picking hand to lightly touch the strings as you pick the note. Where you pick will also affect the tone of the artificial harmonic. The first time this section is played, this harmonic is played by itself. Later in the song, the same fill is played, but you alter the pitch with the whammy bar by dipping and returning. It's up to you to decide which variation you would like to play. After the artificial harmonic, the rhythm repeats. A5, palm mute, C5, mute, C5 to D5, open G5, G with a bend to A5, then end with a slide from the 6th string 17th fret down the neck. Let's put it all together at a practice tempo, then we'll combine the main riff and chorus at full speed. As the main riff continues, Randy Rhoads almost always played a different fill at the end. In phrase 4, the first example starts on the 3rd string 2nd fret to the 4th string 2nd, pull off to open, then end on the 5th string 3rd fret. Repeat the main riff. The fill starts on the 4th string open, open again, then hammer your index finger to the 1st fret, pull off to open, and end on the 5th string 3rd fret. Play the main riff again, then a double note slide on the 1st and 2nd string 3rd fret, down to 2, and back up to 3. I play this starting with my ring finger on the 1st string 3rd fret, middle on the 2nd string 3rd, and I use my index to mute the other strings. I don't even push down with the index, I just allow it to lightly touch. This way you could dig in and give a good rake with the pick, and you'd avoid unwanted notes. At the end of the main riff, which is E5, D5, C5, and G5, Randy often added a slide down the 6th string from the 17th fret, which will lead to the bridge section of the song. For phrase 5, we are learning the bridge, which has palm-muted notes on the 6th string 5th fret with the middle finger, to 7 with the pinky. Then we switch to the 3rd and 4th string with the index finger barring the 4th fret for a B5 chord. Back to the muted 6th string 5th fret with the middle, move that up to the 7th fret, then switch to the 3rd and 4th string barring the 6th fret with the index for a C-sharp 5. From this position, we play the 6th string 7 with the middle, 9 with the pinky, both are muted, then the 3rd and 4th string 7th fret, and slide down to the 6th fret for the first ending. Repeat the bridge, but for the second ending, the 3rd and 4th string 7 slides to 6, then 4, then 2. The first time the bridge is played, only the 4th string 2nd fret rings out. However, later in the song, you can clearly hear that the 3rd string 2nd is ringing out with the 4th string. The bridge repeats a 3rd time with the same ending as 1. The 4th repetition ends with Randy sliding down from the 3rd and 4th string 7 to 6, skip to muted notes on the 6th string 7, then open. Phrase 6 begins on an open A5, which rings out for several measures. Next is a pick scrape. Mute the strings with your playing hand and dig in. Followed by a full C5. 5th string 3rd fret with the index, 4th string 5th with the ring, and 3rd string 5th with the pinky. Drop down 1 fret to B5. And here I'm playing just the middle strings on the 4th fret. But you can add the 5th string 2nd fret if you like. As I mentioned earlier, Randy did overdub several guitar tracks, and he often would play the same chords slightly different on each take. Next is the open G5, which you strum twice, hold for a measure, and play A5 for 4 beats. Back up to C5, then up to the 3rd and 4th string 7th fret for a D5 for 2 beats, then open G5 for 2, A5 again, and on the second measure, toggle the pickups on and off 3 times with the rhythm. Play a quick B5, then repeat the rhythm starting with C5 to B5, open G5 to A5, play a quick B5, up to C, up to D5, open G, then to the main riff. Since this is a slow section to begin with, let's play a practice run at medium speed rather than at a slow tempo. And release, then pull off to the 5th fret, held by the index finger. Phrase 7 simply introduces us to more fills that Randy played during the main riff of the song. The first example is actually how the song starts out, with a slide down the 6th string from the 22nd fret, then into the main riff. The rest of these fills are played at the end of the main riff. Next, we have a 5th string 3rd fret, pull off to open, with a slight dip and return of the tremolo bar. If you don't have a tremolo-equipped guitar, you can easily achieve this technique by simply pushing the neck from behind while holding the body in place, which is a technique Randy did when he didn't have a tremolo. The next ending is a slide up the 5th string to the 12th fret, quick bend, release and slide down, and then we see a 3rd string 5th fret harmonic, which means you simply touch the string lightly above the 5th fret wire and pick, and while the harmonic rings out, dip and return the bar, or once again, you could bend the neck. And the last main riff fill is on the 2nd string, 8th fret, followed by a bar dip and return. By now, you should feel very comfortable adding these fills to the main riff on your own. So let's move on to the outro. At the end of the song, Randy repeats the halftime chords. Phrase 8 uses a lot more echo and shows us some of the sound effects that can be heard by Randy's overdubbed guitar tracks. Like the halftime section, the outro starts on an open A5. Next, we see some of the background chords which Randy played in different areas on the neck. For example, we have an octave A5 played on the 4th string 7th fret with the index, 3rd string 9th fret with the ring, and 2nd string 10th fret with the pinky. First, play 2 palm muted open A notes, then this A5 chord. Another section has 4 palm muted open A notes, then another A5 on the 5th string 12, along with the 4th string 14 and 3rd string 14. Strum, and then slide down the neck. A lead guitar fill is heard on the 3rd string 7 using the ring finger, bend and release, then pull off to the 5th fret, held by the index finger. Another guitar toggles the pickups from off to on and plays C5, then toggles a few more times. A 3rd string open G note is played with a tremolo bar dive. The 2nd string 8th fret is played and held while rapidly shaking the bar several times. This is also applied to the 3rd string 5th fret harmonic. Dip the bar after playing the open 3rd string, then sound the 6th string and return the bar, adding vibrato with the whammy bar at the end. These parts are all very random, so there won't be a tempo exercise for phrase 8, but I did want to include these sound effects for the sake of completeness. To end phrase 8 and our lesson, bend the 3rd string 9, and while holding the bend, give the bar vibrato. I chose to start with Suicide Solution to get the viewers warmed up. The main riff is very easy, and for that reason this lesson is beginner friendly. Although the album version of this song doesn't have a guitar solo, Randy did include several lead guitar fills which will keep the beginner as well as the advanced players on their toes.